Do you feel that a busy life gets in the way of your sewing projects, lack of motivation, and interruptions? In this video, I'll share my strategies to find more time and stay motivated and finally get the projects done. Let's get started. I just want to jump in here and let you know about a free 5-day email crash course that I created to help you find more time for sewing. Each day, you'll receive a simple, actionable tip and a quick challenge that will help you prioritize sewing. And in honor of sewing more, I'm going to make this video extra short so you can jump right in. Let's talk about being busy. Life is full and not slowing down anytime soon, but that doesn't mean that sewing falls to the bottom of my list. Here's how I find time in my packed schedule. I find hidden pockets of time or micro moments. I'll use 10 or 15 minutes to prep my fabric or to thread the machine, particularly the serger, which takes longer. And the small chunks really do add up. I schedule sewing time into my calendar just like I would an appointment. For me, typically it's weekends, afternoons are best, and I let my family know that that's my sewing time and to please not interrupt. I like to combine my sewing with other forms of relaxation. My preference is audiobooks, so I often am listening to a book while I'm sewing. Other great choices are podcasts or movies or, of course, YouTube videos, so it makes the process even more enjoyable. Next up, motivation. It's easy to look at a project at the end of a long week and say, nope, not today. But I believe that motivation follows action. So I usually just plow in, even if I think I'll just give it 10 minutes, and often 2 hours later, I'm still in the middle of the project. I'll start with something small. Perhaps I'll pin the fabric or I'll just sew one seam. Momentum is very powerful. And I like to track my progress because seeing what I've accomplished really helps keep me inspired. And I like to commemorate my wins. When I finish a project, I treat myself to something special, perhaps a cup of tea or a small piece of chocolate. Every small step counts. Before I know it, I'm happily sewing along. Interruptions. You sit down to sew and boom, someone needs your help, your phone is ringing, you forgot that email you're supposed to send. Interruptions really steal a sewer's time. The way I tackle interruptions is to set boundaries. I let my family know that sewing time is very important to me, and when I'm in my sewing room, to avoid interrupting me. I also try to pick times that I'm going to be needed less from my family. For me, that's maybe early in the morning or later in the evening, or my weekend afternoons typically is a nice, quiet time for my family so I can get in the sewing room and do some sewing. A sewing in progress sign works wonders. I have one for my door. I put it on, and so people know that I'm in the middle of a project. I have my own sewing room, but even a small dedicated space is helpful to keep everything ready to go so you can get into the zone faster when you finally do have time to sit down to sew. I also turn off my notifications. Airplane mode on my phone is not just for the airplane, it's my best sewing buddy. I also make sure that I have my email notifications turned off so I'm not tempted to check which email came in. These simple changes can make a huge difference. I find time for sewing by working smarter with my time. My top tips for consistency are prepping in advance. I keep my sewing projects ready to go so I can just jump in when the inspiration hits. I celebrate small wins. Every step forward counts. Cutting fabric is progress. And I love being part of a community. I'm in several sewing groups on Facebook and Reddit. They give me inspiration and encouragement. So I would encourage you to join some as well. If you're feeling inspired, check out my video on how I designed and patterned my holiday dress. What's your biggest challenge in finding time for sewing? I'd love to hear. Leave a comment below. And if you've enjoyed these tips, please like and subscribe.